The arrival. The gleaming spires of the Galactic Academy of Sciences pierced the pale lavender sky of Zeta Prime, their iridescent surfaces reflecting the light of twin suns. Inside the grand atrium, a diverse array of alien species milled about, their excited chatter filling the air with a cacophony of clicks, whistles, and melodic tones. Professor Zix Loria, a tall, slender being with shimmering scales and 4 articulated arms, observed the scene with a mixture of pride and trepidation. As the Dean of Interspecies Relations, she had fought hard to implement the new exchange program. But even she hadn't expected the Galactic Council to approve a human participant so soon. "Attention, please," Zix Loria's voice rang out, amplified by the atrium's natural acoustics. The crowd fell silent, hundreds of eyes, stalks, and sensory organs turning towards her. "The transport carrying our new exchange students will be arriving momentarily. Please remember to maintain a respectful distance and refrain from any aggressive displays." As if on cue, a sleek silver shuttle gracefully descended through the Academy's atmospheric shield. It touched down on the landing pad with barely a whisper, its smooth exterior unmarred by the rigors of interstellar travel. The shuttle's door arised open, and a procession of alien students emerged. There was a Voltari, its gelatinous body pulsing with bioluminescent patterns, a pair of Quillari siblings, their tentacles intertwined in a gesture of mutual support, a towering chronax, its rocky hide glistening with crystalline formations. And then, stepping hesitantly into the alien sunlight, came a human girl. Sophia Chen blinked, her eyes adjusting to the brightness. At 17 Earth years old, she was painfully aware of how small and fragile she must appear to the assembled aliens. Her dark hair was pulled back in a practical ponytail, and she clutched a battered duffel bag to her chest like a shield. A ripple of murmurs swept through the crowd. Many of the aliens had never seen a human in person before. Some recoiled slightly, while others leaned in with unconcealed curiosity. Zix Loria glided forward, her scales shifting through a calming pattern of blues and greens. "Welcome, students, to the Galactic Academy of Sciences. I am Professor Zix Loria, Dean of Interspecies Relations. You have all been chosen for your exceptional abilities and your potential to further the cause of galactic cooperation." The Dean's gaze lingered on Sophia for a moment longer than the others. "Some of you represent species that are new to our academic community. Rest assured, we will do everything in our power to ensure your comfort and success." As the welcoming speech continued, Sophia's attention wandered. The architecture of the academy was unlike anything she had ever seen, organic curves blending seamlessly with impossibly delicate structures that seemed to defy gravity. The very air felt different, charged with an energy that made her skin tingle. A sudden movement caught her eye. One of the alien students, a being that looked like a cross between a praying mantis and a sunflower, was gesticulating wildly with its leaf-like appendages. It took Sophia a moment to realize the creature was trying to get her attention. Hesitantly, she took a step towards it. The alien's head swiveled, revealing compound eyes that reflected Sophia's image like a kaleidoscope. "Greetings, human." The alien's voice was a melodious whisper. "I am Philia of the Florins. May your roots grow deep and your petals ever reach for the stars." Sophia smiled, relief washing over her. "Hi, I'm Sophia. It's nice to meet you, Philia." Before they could continue their conversation, a chime sounded, signaling the end of the welcoming ceremony. Professor Zix Loria's voice rose above the renewed chatter. "Students, please follow your assigned guides to your living quarters. Orientation activities will begin in 3 standard hours." As the crowd began to disperse, Sophia felt a gentle tap on her shoulder. She turned to find herself face to face with a hovering orb of pulsating light. "Sophia Chen of Earth." The orb's voice seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. "I am Lumina, your assigned guide and roommate. Please follow me to our shared habitation unit." Sophia hefted her bag and fell into step behind the glowing sphere, her mind reeling. This was really happening. She was about to begin her studies at the most prestigious institution in the known galaxy. As they made their way through winding corridors and soaring atriums, Sophia couldn't help but notice the stares and whispers that followed her. Some aliens seemed merely curious, while others regarded her with what she could only interpret as suspicion or disdain. "Don't mind them," Lumina's voice hummed softly. "Many here have never encountered a human before. Your presence is unexpected." Sophia frowned. "What do you mean, unexpected? Wasn't I officially invited to join the exchange program?" The orb pulsed with what might have been embarrassment. "Well, yes, but perhaps it would be best if Professor Zixloria explained the situation." Before Sophia could press for more information, they arrived at a door that shimmered like the surface of a soap bubble. Luna pulsed, and the door dissolved, revealing a spacious room that seemed to defy the laws of physics. "Welcome to our habitation unit," Lumina announced. "Please make yourself comfortable. I will give you privacy to settle in and prepare for orientation." As the glowing orb retreated, Sophia stepped into the room, her eyes wide with wonder. One wall appeared to be a window looking out into deep space, stars and nebulae swirling in breathtaking patterns. Another wall rippled like water, changing colors in response to her mood. Sophia set her bag down on what she assumed was a bed, a gently hovering platform covered in a material that felt like a cross between silk and moss. As she began to unpack, her mind raced with questions. Why had Lumina seemed so hesitant about her presence? What had she meant by unexpected? And most importantly, how was Sophia going to navigate this alien world where she was clearly the outsider? A soft chime interrupted her thoughts. A holographic display materialized in front of her, showing Professor Zixloria's serene face. "Sophia Chen," the dean's voice was gentle but serious. "I apologize for the abruptness, but I need to speak with you privately before orientation begins. Please come to my office immediately." The hologram winked out, leaving Sophia standing alone in the strange room. She took a deep breath, squaring her shoulders. Whatever challenges lay ahead, she was determined to face them head-on. After all, she wasn't just representing herself anymore. She was representing all of humanity. With a mixture of excitement and apprehension, Sophia stepped back out into the corridor, ready to begin her journey into the unknown. Cultural clash. Sophia's footsteps echoed softly as she made her way through the winding corridors of the Galactic Academy. The walls seemed to shift and shimmer, adapting to the preferences of passing alien species. She tried to focus on finding her way to Professor Zixloria's office, but her mind kept wandering to the strange looks and whispers that followed her. Finally, she arrived at a door that pulsed with a soft, welcoming light. As she approached, it dissolved into a fine mist, allowing her entry. Professor Zixloria's office was a marvel of alien architecture. Bookshelves curved impossibly, defying gravity as they spiraled towards a ceiling that seemed to open directly into space. The dean herself sat behind a desk that appeared to be growing organically from the floor. "Ah, Sophia, please have a seat." Zixloria gestured with one of her forearms to a chair that materialized out of thin air. Sophia sat down carefully, still not entirely trusting the alien furniture. "You wanted to see me, Professor?" Zixloria's scales rippled with a pattern that Sophia interpreted as concern. "Yes, my dear. I'm afraid there's been some confusion regarding your presence here at the Academy." The professor's next words hit Sophia like a physical blow. "You see, your admission was never meant to be approved." Sophia felt her heart sink. What? But the invitation, the scholarship, was it all a mistake? Zixloria held up a placating hand. Not a mistake, precisely. More of an oversight. You see, when the exchange program was proposed, it was meant to include only species with proven interstellar capabilities. Humanity's application was filed as a formality, expected to be rejected. The dean's compound eyes fixed on Sophia with an intensity that made her squirm. However, your personal application was so exceptional that it triggered an automatic approval before the species restriction could be applied. By the time the error was discovered, you were already en route to Zeta Prime. Sophia's mind reeled. So, what happens now? Am I going to be sent back to Earth? No, Zexloria assured her quickly. That would cause a diplomatic incident we'd rather avoid. You'll be allowed to stay and complete your studies. However, you must understand that your presence here is controversial. Many of the faculty and students believe that humans are not yet ready for full participation in galactic society. Sophia felt a spark of defiance ignite within her. With all due respect, Professor, how can they judge an entire species based on preconceived notions? Isn't the point of this academy to foster understanding between different cultures? A ripple of what might have been amusement passed through Zexloria's scales. Indeed it is, my dear. And that is precisely why I fought to keep you here once the situation came to light. You have a unique opportunity to change minds and open doors for your entire species. The weight of that responsibility settled heavily on Sophia's shoulders. I'll do my best, Professor. But how am I supposed to compete academically with species that are so far beyond human technology? Zexloria's expression softened. Intelligence and worth are not measured solely by technological advancement, Sophia. Humans have qualities that many advanced species lack: adaptability, creativity, and a unique perspective on the universe. Those traits may prove more valuable than you realize. As Sophia left the office, her mind buzzed with everything she had learned. The challenges ahead seemed insurmountable, but she was determined to prove that humanity deserved its place among the stars. The next few weeks were a whirlwind of new experiences and frustrations. Sophia struggled to keep up with classes taught in languages her universal translator sometimes failed to fully convey. The alien technology that permeated every aspect of academy life often left her feeling clumsy and out of place. In her quantum mechanics class, taught by a gaseous being named Professor Nebulox, Sophia found herself completely lost as equations in 17 dimensions floated in the air around her. Miss Chen, Nebulox's voice rumbled like distant thunder. Perhaps you'd care to explain to the class why the theory of quantum entanglement doesn't apply to tachyonic particles in a negatively curved spacetime. Sophia felt her face burn as all eyes turned to her. I'm not sure, Professor. In human physics, we haven't even conclusively proven the existence of tachyons yet. A ripple of laughter passed through the class. Nebulox's gaseous form darkened with what Sophia assumed was disappointment. I see. Perhaps it would be best if you focused on more foundational studies for the time being. It wasn't just the academics that proved challenging. Simple tasks like eating in the cafeteria became complex ordeals. Sophia stared at her tray, trying to decipher which of the writhing, glowing, or seemingly phase-shifting substances were actually edible for humans. You look lost, a friendly voice chimed. Sophia looked up to see Philia, the Floran she had met on her first day. The plant-like alien's leaves rustled in what Sophia had come to recognize as a gesture of sympathy. Is it that obvious? Sophia sighed. Philia's compound eyes glittered with amusement, only to those of us paying attention. Here, try this. She pointed to a shimmering blue cube on Sophia's tray. It's a nutrient construct designed to adapt to any species' dietary needs. Tastes like wet cardboard, but it'll keep you alive. Sophia smiled gratefully. Thanks, Philia. I'm glad at least one person here doesn't think I'm a complete lost cause. The Floran's petals fluttered in what Sophia had learned was their equivalent of a shrug. Don't be so sure. I've got a bet going with some Volturi that you'll drop out before the first term ends. What? Sophia sputtered, nearly choking on her blue cube. Philia's leaves vibrated with laughter. I'm kidding. Well, about the bet part. The dropout rumors are real, though. You've got your work cut out for you, human. As the weeks wore on, Sophia found herself spending more and more time in the Academy's vast library, desperately trying to catch up on millennia of scientific advancement. She pored over texts on everything from basic xenobiology to advanced temporal mechanics, often falling asleep at her study station. It was during one of these late-night study sessions that she had her breakthrough. Sophia had been struggling with a particularly difficult concept in her astroengineering class, the principles behind faster-than-light travel. As she stared at the holographic diagrams floating before her, something clicked. "That's it," she exclaimed, startling a nearby Kulari student who had been absorbed in their own studies. The reason the Alcubierre drive doesn't work in real-world applications isn't because of the energy requirements. It's because it doesn't account for the quantum foam structure of spacetime at the subatomic level. Sophia's fingers flew over the holographic interface as she sketched out her idea. By combining principles from human theoretical physics with the advanced mathematics she had been studying, she had stumbled upon a potential solution to one of the galaxy's most persistent engineering challenges. As dawn broke over Zeta Prime, casting the library in a soft lavender glow, Sophia sat back, exhausted but exhilarated. She knew she had a long way to go before she could prove her theory, but for the first time since arriving at the academy, she felt like she truly belonged. Little did Sophia know that her late-night epiphany was about to catapult her into the center of a galactic controversy that would challenge not just her own abilities, but the very foundations of interstellar society. Hidden talents. The news of Sophia's theoretical breakthroughs spread through the academy like wildfire. At first, most faculty members dismissed it as a misunderstanding or a fluke. After all, how could a human, barely versed in galactic science, stumble upon a solution that had eluded the brightest minds for centuries? Professor Zix-Loria, however, saw potential in Sophia's idea. She arranged for the human student to present her theory to a panel of expert researchers from across the galaxy. On the day of the presentation, Sophia stood before a diverse audience of alien scientists, her heart pounding. The holographic display behind her flickered to life, showing complex equations and 3D models. "Distinguished colleagues," Sophia began, her voice only slightly trembling. "I present to you a new approach to faster-than-light travel, one that reconciles the Alcubierre drive concept with quantum foam dynamics." As she delved into the details of her theory, Sophia could see a mix of reactions in the audience. Some leaned forward, their eyes or equivalent sensory organs widening with interest. Others scoffed or shook their heads in disbelief. When she finished, there was a moment of stunned silence. Then the room erupted in a cacophony of alien voices, some excited, others skeptical, all intense. A chronax scientist, his crystalline body glittering, spoke up first. "This is preposterous. The energy requirements alone would be astronomical. It simply cannot work." But a Voltari researcher, its gelatinous form pulsing with excitement, disagreed. No, don't you see? The human's approach sidesteps the energy problem entirely by utilizing the inherent structure of spacetime itself. The debate raged on, with Sophia defending her ideas against increasingly complex questions and criticisms. To everyone's surprise, including her own, she held her ground, drawing on her unique blend of human intuition and newly acquired galactic knowledge. As the session concluded, Professor Zix-Loria stepped forward, her scales shimmering with an emotion Sophia couldn't quite interpret. "While Ms. Chen's theory requires further study and rigorous testing, I believe we have witnessed something truly remarkable today. This collaboration between human creativity and our advanced scientific knowledge may open new avenues of research we had not considered." The aftermath of Sophia's presentation was a whirlwind of activity. Suddenly, the human student who had been struggling to keep up found herself at the center of attention. Researchers sought her out, eager to discuss her ideas further. Fellow students who had once looked at her with disdain now approached her with curiosity and, in some cases, a grudging respect. But not everyone was pleased with this turn of events. A faction within the academy, led by the stern Professor Nebulox, viewed Sophia's success as a threat to the established order. "This is highly irregular." Nebulox's gaseous form roiled with agitation as he addressed the academy's governing board. "We cannot allow an underdeveloped species to gain access to such advanced concepts. The potential for misuse is too great." Zix-Loria countered, her voice calm but firm. The purpose of this institution is to foster the exchange of knowledge and ideas. Ms. Chen has demonstrated exactly the kind of innovative thinking we should be encouraging. The debate over Sophia's role at the academy might have continued indefinitely if not for an unexpected crisis that struck at the heart of the institution. It began as a series of small malfunctions, environmental controls going haywire, communication systems glitching, research data becoming corrupted. At first, they seemed like isolated incidents, but soon a pattern emerged. Sophia was in the middle of a practical exobiology lesson when the academy's main power grid suddenly failed. Emergency lights flickered on, bathing the corridors in an eerie glow. Through the windows, she could see other buildings across the campus going dark. "Attention all students and faculty," Professor Zixloria's voice echoed through the emergency communications system. "We are experiencing a severe system-wide malfunction. Please remain calm and proceed to your designated safety areas." As chaos erupted around her, Sophia felt a strange sense of calm descend. This was familiar territory. Growing up on a remote Earth colony, she had dealt with her fair share of system failures and emergency situations. While other students panicked or froze, Sophia sprang into action. She quickly organized a group of her classmates, assigning tasks based on their individual abilities. "Lumina, use your bioluminescence to guide people to the safe zones. Philia, your photosynthetic abilities might help supplement the emergency power. I need the Quilari to use their tentacles to access hard-to-reach maintenance panels." As they worked to stabilize the immediate crisis, Sophia's mind raced, trying to piece together the bigger picture. The pattern of malfunction seemed too deliberate to be a coincidence. This had to be a coordinated attack. Using a jury-rigged communication device cobbled together from spare parts, Sophia managed to reach Professor Zixloria. "Professor, I think I know what's happening. These aren't random failures. It's a cyber attack, using our own systems against us." There was a moment of silence on the other end. Then, "Sophia, how can you be sure?" "The pattern matches tactics I've studied in Earth's history. It's like a more advanced version of a distributed denial-of-service attack. But whoever's doing this doesn't understand one key thing about the Academy's systems." "And what's that?" Zixloria asked, a note of hope creeping into her voice. Sophia allowed herself a small smile. They're trying to exploit weaknesses in a unified system, but the Academy's technology is a patchwork of different avian systems cobbled together over centuries. That's usually a weakness, but right now, it's our strength. Each subsystem has its own quirks and failsafes that don't quite mesh with the others. If we can isolate them and bring them back online individually, we can regain control, Zixloria finished. "Brilliant, Sophia, but can it be done?" "With a little human ingenuity and a lot of alien cooperation, I think so," Sophia replied, her mind already racing with possibilities. What followed was a frenetic few hours of activity. Sophia coordinated with teams across the academy, using her unique outsider's perspective to identify unconventional solutions. She had Voltari students use their amorphous bodies to physically interrupt power flows, chronicles engineers to recalibrate crystalline computer cores, and even convinced a group of gaseous nebulae beings to act as temporary organic coolant systems. Bit by bit, system by system, they clawed back control. As the final firewalls came back online and the attackers were locked out, a cheer went up across the academy. In the aftermath, as emergency crews worked to fully restore power and services, Sophia found herself summoned once again to Professor Zixloria's office. This time, however, the dean was not alone. The entire academy board was present, their alien faces unreadable. "Sophia Chen," Zixloria began, her scales shimmering with barely contained emotion. "Your actions today have saved this institution from a catastrophic attack. You've demonstrated not just intelligence, but leadership, adaptability, and a unique problem-solving ability that I had not fully appreciated before." One by one, the board members spoke, commending Sophia's quick thinking and innovative solutions. Even Professor Nebulox, his gaseous form somewhat subdued, admitted that her unorthodox approach had been crucial to their survival. As the praise washed over her, Sophia felt a mix of pride and humility. She had come to the Galactic Academy of Sciences feeling like an outsider, struggling to prove her worth. Now she realized she had found her place, not by trying to be like everyone else, but by embracing her unique human perspective. "Thank you all," Sophia said, her voice steady and confident. "I'm honored to be part of this community, and I hope that today's events have shown that humanity has something valuable to contribute to galactic society." As she left the office, head held high, Sophia knew that her journey was far from over. But for the first time since arriving on Zeta Prime, she felt truly ready to face whatever challenges the universe might throw her way. Little did she know that her actions had set in motion events that would reshape not just her own future, but the fate of humanity and its place in the galactic community. Part 4. Shifting Perspectives. In the weeks following the cyber attack, life at the Galactic Academy of Sciences took on a new rhythm. Sophia found herself at the center of a whirlwind of activity, her days filled with advanced classes, research projects, and impromptu problem-solving sessions. The change in how she was perceived was palpable. Aliens who had once dismissed her now sought out her opinion, fascinated by her unique approach to challenges. Even Professor Nebulox, who had been one of her harshest critics, begrudgingly acknowledged her contributions. "Miss Chen," the gaseous professor burbled one day after class, "your solution to the quantum entanglement paradox was unorthodox, but effective. Perhaps there is something to be said for the human approach after all." Sophia beamed, recognizing the magnitude of this admission. "Thank you, Professor. I'm learning so much here, but I'm glad I can contribute something in return." As word of Sophia's achievements spread beyond the academy, she began receiving messages from other humans scattered across the galaxy, researchers, diplomats, and colonists who saw her as a beacon of hope for humanity's future among the stars. One afternoon, as Sophia was deep in discussion with a group of alien students about the ethical implications of time dilation in interstellar travel, she received an urgent summons from Professor Zixloria. Arriving at the dean's office, Sophia was surprised to find not just Zixloria, but also a holographic projection of an imposing figure she recognized as Admiral Krast, the head of the Galactic Defense Force. "Sophia," Zixloria began, her scales rippling with an emotion Sophia couldn't quite place, "we have a situation that requires your unique perspective." Admiral Krasic's hologram flickered as he spoke, his mandibles clicking with agitation. "Miss Chen, we have detected an anomaly at the edge of charted space. It appears to be a probe of unknown origin, utilizing technology beyond anything in our databases." Sophia felt a thrill of excitement mixed with apprehension. "And you think I can help because..." "Because, young human," Krasic rumbled, "the probe's behavior and design share striking similarities with theoretical models developed by Earth scientists centuries ago. Models that were dismissed by the galactic community as primitive fantasy." The implications hit Sophia like a thunderbolt. "You think it might be of human origin, but that's impossible. We've barely begun to explore our own solar system." Zixloria interjected, her voice gentle but urgent. "That's precisely why we need you, Sophia. Your species has a way of thinking that defies our expectations. We need that perspective now more than ever." And so, Sophia found herself aboard the GDF flagship Stellar Horizon, surrounded by the most advanced alien minds in the galaxy, all looking to her for guidance. The irony wasn't lost on her. Months ago, she had been struggling to keep up, and now she was leading the charge into the unknown. As they approached the anomaly, tension on the bridge was palpable. The probe hung in space before them, a sleek construct of impossible geometries and pulsing energy fields. "It's beautiful," Sophia breathed, her eyes wide with wonder. A Voltari scientist nodded in agreement, its gelatinous form rippling. "Yes, but potentially deadly. Our scans can't penetrate its defenses. Any attempts at communication have failed." Sophia studied the holographic representations of the probe, her mind racing. Something about its configuration tugged at her memory. "Wait a minute," she muttered, pulling up historical files from Earth's early space age. "This looks like, but it can't be." "What is it, human?" Admiral Krask demanded, his patience wearing thin. Sophia took a deep breath. "It looks like an advanced version of a concept called a von Neumann probe. It was a theoretical self-replicating spacecraft designed to explore and potentially colonize the galaxy. But Earth never had the technology to actually build one." The alien scientists exchanged worried glances. A self-replicating probe could pose a significant threat if it viewed other life forms as resources for its mission. "If it is of human origin," Sophia continued, her voice growing more confident, "then maybe it will respond to human methods of communication." What followed was a crash course in human history for the alien crew. Sophia led them through Earth's various attempts at interstellar communication, from radio waves to mathematical sequences to encoded DNA. With each attempt, the probe's energy readings fluctuated, but true communication remained elusive. Frustration mounted as hours stretched into days. The Galactic Defense Force was growing impatient, with some voices calling for the probe's destruction before it could pose a greater threat. It was during a moment of quiet reflection, staring out at the stars, that inspiration struck Sophia. She rushed back to the communication array, her fingers flying over the controls. "What are you doing?" Professor Zix-Loria asked, her scales shifting in confusion. Sophia grinned. "Something very human. I'm sending it music." The bridge fell silent as the opening notes of Beethoven's Fifth Symphony echoed through space. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then suddenly, the probe's energy field pulsed in rhythm with the music. "It's responding." Sophia cried out in excitement. As the symphony played on, the probe began to unfold, revealing layers of technology that left even the most advanced alien scientists speechless. And then, to everyone's shock, it began to transmit. The message that came through was not in any known galactic language. Instead, it was a complex mathematical sequence that, when decoded, formed a single word in ancient human Sanskrit: Namast. The implications were staggering. Somehow, far in Earth's past, an advanced human civilization had launched this probe, only to fall into obscurity. The knowledge it contained could revolutionize not just human science, but galactic understanding as a whole. As the initial shock wore off and the real work of decoding the probe's vast databanks began, Sophia found herself at the center of a new galactic paradigm. Humanity, long dismissed as a primitive species, now held the key to unlocking secrets of the universe that even the most advanced alien civilizations had yet to grasp. Admiral Krask approached Sophia, his imposing form softened somewhat by what appeared to be genuine respect. "It seems we have much to learn from your species, Ms. Chen. Perhaps it is time for humanity to take its rightful place in galactic affairs." Sophia nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility settling on her shoulders. "We're ready, Admiral, and I think the galaxy might just be ready for us too." As the stellar horizon began its journey back to the heart of galactic civilization, Sophia knew that nothing would ever be the same. The adventure that had begun with her accidental admission to the Galactic Academy of Sciences had now opened up a new chapter not just for her, but for all of humanity. The stars seemed to shine a little brighter as they sailed through space, promising a future filled with endless possibilities and new horizons to explore. Galactic implications. The return journey to the heart of galactic civilization was a blur of activity for Sophia. Every moment not spent sleeping was dedicated to poring over the vast trove of data from the ancient human probe. The revelations contained within were staggering, hinting at a lost era of human advancement that rivaled or even surpassed current galactic technology in some areas. As news of the discovery spread, the political landscape of the galaxy began to shift. The Galactic Council, once dismissive of humanity's potential, now clamored for human representation. Sophia found herself thrust into the role of de facto ambassador, fielding calls from alien dignitaries and human leaders alike. Upon their arrival at the galactic capital, a sprawling megastructure that encompassed an entire star system, Sophia was immediately whisked away to address an emergency session of the Galactic Council. The council chambers were a cacophony of alien voices and translators as Sophia took the podium. She gazed out at the sea of diverse beings, each representing civilizations spanning thousands of light years, and felt a momentary pang of imposter syndrome. But then she remembered how far she'd come, and her voice rang out clear and confident. "Esteemed members of the Galactic Council," Sophia began, "the discovery of the ancient human probe has opened a new chapter in our shared history. It proves that humanity's potential has always been greater than anyone, including ourselves, realized. But more importantly, it highlights a fundamental truth that no species, no matter how advanced, has a monopoly on innovation or wisdom." She paused, letting her words sink in. "The probe's data suggests that our ancestors faced challenges similar to those we grapple with today: climate change, resource scarcity, the ethical implications of AI. They found solutions, only to lose that knowledge over time. This cycle of discovery and loss is not unique to humanity. I believe it's a pattern repeated across the galaxy, across eons." A murmur rippled through the chamber as various species recognized echoes of their own histories in Sophia's words. "But today," Sophia continued, her voice growing stronger, "we have an unprecedented opportunity. By combining the rediscovered knowledge of ancient humanity with the collective wisdom of all species represented here, we can break this cycle. We can forge a new path forward, one that elevates all of us." The chamber erupted in a mix of cheers, debate, and contemplative silence. As Sophia stepped down from the podium, she was immediately surrounded by a whirlwind of alien diplomats, each eager to discuss the implications of her speech. In the days that followed, the galaxy witnessed a paradigm shift. Human scientists were invited to join the most prestigious research institutions. Earth, once a galactic backwater, became a hub of interstellar diplomacy and cultural exchange. But with this new status came new challenges. Some conservative factions within the Galactic Council feared that humanity's rapid rise would destabilize the delicate balance of power. Others saw opportunity in human innovation and sought to exploit it for their own ends. Sophia found herself navigating increasingly complex political waters. She worked tirelessly to build bridges between species, emphasizing cooperation over competition. Her unique background, a human educated in alien sciences, made her an ideal mediator. One particularly tense negotiation stood out. A dispute over mining rights in a resource-rich sector threatened to escalate into open conflict between three major powers. Sophia proposed a novel solution, drawing on both rediscovered human techniques and alien technologies to create a sustainable extraction method that benefited all parties. As the agreement was signed, averting a potentially devastating war, Sophia caught Professor Zixloria's eye across the room. The dean's scales shimmered with what Sophia now recognized as pride. "You've come a long way from that overwhelmed student who first stepped into my office," Zixloria said warmly as they shared a quiet moment amidst the celebrations. Sophia smiled. "I had good teachers, and I learned that sometimes not fitting in is the greatest advantage of all." As the galactic media hailed the agreement as a triumph of interspecies cooperation, Sophia's thoughts turned to the future. The ancient probe had hinted at even greater discoveries waiting to be uncovered. There were whispers of lost human colonies in unexplored regions of space, of technologies that could revolutionize travel between galaxies. But perhaps most intriguing were the probe's cryptic references to other advanced civilizations beyond the known galaxy. The possibility of first contact with truly alien life forms outside the familiar spectrum of galactic species sent shivers of excitement through the scientific community. Sophia knew that humanity's journey was just beginning. There would be challenges ahead, cultural clashes, technological hurdles, and the ever-present risk of conflict. But as she looked out at the glittering expanse of the galaxy, she felt a sense of limitless possibility. "Ready for the next adventure?" Philia asked, coming to stand beside her. The Floran had become one of Sophia's closest friends and most trusted advisors in the whirlwind of galactic politics. Sophia grinned. "Always. There's a whole universe out there waiting for us to explore." As they gazed at the stars together, a human and an alien, united in friendship and shared purpose, Sophia reflected on how far she'd come. From a struggling exchange student to a key player in galactic affairs, her journey embodied the very spirit of human resilience and adaptability that had caught the attention of the galaxy. The ancient probe had opened doors, but it was up to Sophia and her generation to step through them. With a mix of rediscovered knowledge, alien wisdom, and uniquely human ingenuity, they would forge a new future, not just for Earth, but for all species who called the vast cosmos home. As news of the latest breakthrough in human-alien cooperative research flashed across the galactic networks, Sophia squared her shoulders. The next chapter in humanity's grand adventure among the stars was about to begin, and she was ready to help write it. The galaxy would never be the same, and neither would humanity. And that, Sophia thought with a smile, was the most exciting prospect of all.